First thing is, number one, God can heal anything. God can heal anything. He's the one who invented the laws of physics and biology and chemistry. He can bend or break those laws whenever he wants to. He can rewrite them whenever he wants to. So he can heal anything. He's got that power. Second thing is that God is not obligated to heal everything. Sometimes we come to him and he doesn't heal what we ask him for. An illustration, some of you may remember last October, I came up here on stage one week and I could barely walk because my back was hurting so bad. And trust me, I asked God to divinely heal my back in desperation. But for whatever his reasons were, he decided not to do that. He's not obligated to heal just because we ask him to heal. Third important principle is that God is more interested in faith building than he's interested in our comfort. I think that's one of the key reasons why he doesn't heal every time. He's more concerned about what happens with our faith. So sometimes our spiritual maturity, our faith will grow more if God delivers us from whatever pain we're in at the time. There's other times when our faith will grow more if God doesn't deliver us from the pain that we're in, and we're forced to walk more closely with him in the midst of our pain. Sometimes God does his deepest work in our lives when we're in the midst of pain, and so he allows us to continue to go through that because he's got a deep work in mind. Some of you know Micah Yost, who's our technical director here, who oftentimes does announcements during our services. Well, many of you know that last year he was experiencing digestive issues where his body simply wouldn't digest the food in the way that it should. He couldn't get anything to be digested inside of his body. And some of you even watched him when he was making announcements get thinner and thinner until there was a point where he told me on his 6-foot frame, he had dropped to 145 pounds last fall. He was only sleeping about 8 hours per week, and he was about a month from getting a feeding tube inserted into his body because it just wouldn't digest enough food to keep him alive. The doctors couldn't figure out what was going on in his body. And so I recruited like the big dog spiritual pastors to come into my office and surround Micah and anoint him with oil and pray over him. And we got these great guys to be in there, but in Micah's words, we prayed for healing, and it didn't work. It just didn't work. And in one of his journals, this is what Micah wrote. He said, if God would have removed my burden early on, my faith would be much simpler than it is now. And there would be so much less glory for him. And it's in this reality, the reality of having gone through the pain, that I see a clearer picture of how God both cares for me and is fully about his own glory. See, there are certain things that happen to develop Micah's faith in such a way that would have never happened if he hadn't gone through the pain. Now, interestingly, Micah's problem went away. And it mystified the doctors as to why it went away, when it went away, what the deal was that was behind it. And, now he's back and his digestive system is working in a healthy way. But God kept him in the midst of that pain because he's more interested in faith building than he is in comfort. Okay, next key principle is that all healing is temporary. All healing is temporary. What do I mean by this? I mean that if you have a disease or a sickness, you just may get that disease or sickness back again. And if you don't, you'll get a different one. As a matter of fact, I can say this with great confidence for one key reason. Everybody dies, right? And you die when something is broken inside of you. I'm going to die, you're going to die, we're all going to die. I remember one guy when I was at Willow at my last assignment in the Chicago suburbs. A guy came and he was in my ministry and God miraculously healed him of stage 4 cancer. It was an amazing thing that we all celebrated. And 2 years later, he died of a heart attack. And I remember his son coming to me very distraught saying, why would God heal him of cancer if he's just going to die of a heart attack 2 years later? And at the time, I used my best pastoral skills to minister to him. But in my mind, I'm thinking, everybody dies. Everybody dies of something. And so if you're healed, you're not healed forever. You're going to die sometime. And that healing may be temporary, or you may get the same thing again, or you may die eventually. But here's the deal. Death is not the end. Death is the ultimate healing that we get. You see, the flip side of dying is that through death, ultimate healing happens. You get a new body with your new resurrection, with no joint pain and no nearsightedness, no liver disorders, no thyroid issues, no depression, no macular degeneration. When you die, you translate into the ultimate healing, which may be the very best answers to all of your prayers for healing. Amen? This is what God is doing. So, because of that, we should ask for healing. If God can do it, he's not obligated to. We should ask him to heal us, and maybe, just maybe, he will. And in the meantime, he loves the relationship. He loves his kids. He loves when we come and ask him for things.